First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Governor DeSantis and Florida's First Lady welcome President Biden and the First Lady to tour hurricane damage. The White House press secretary says the political rivals are, quote, working as one. Welcome to WUFT News First at 5. I'm Ophelie Jacobson.
And I'm Kendall Brandt, and thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Officials are making long-term commitments to rebuild after Hurricane Ian's devastation. NBC's Chris Pallone reports from Fort Myers Beach.
1 week after Hurricane Ian roared ashore, President Biden came to Southwest Florida to see the damage for himself and to meet with business owners and homeowners who lost everything and the first responders who are helping them.
We're here today because we wanted to tell you in person that we're thinking of you and we're not leaving. We're not leaving until this gets done.
As the president visits, search teams are still going door to door. They've brought more than 3,000 people to safety so far, but for many here, the reality is setting in.
This is everything we've all worked our whole life for.
Absolutely.
And it's gone in a flash.
While the federal and state governments are providing much needed aid, private charities are playing a large part in helping people get back on their feet.
Most of the people are going to be coming in looking for water.
In Fort Myers Beach, the VFW is providing food, water, and cleaning supplies to anyone who needs them. And many of the VFW volunteers are storm victims themselves.
They lived in the mobile home parks right around us. They've lost everything. They're devastated. And for them to get up every day, excuse me.
No.
You know, it makes you feel good.
In Cape Coral, a group of college students drove 26 hours from Nebraska just to help people clean up.
Feeling powerless is just a terrible feeling.
These volunteers say it might take months or even years, but this place will come back stronger than ever as long as people have hope.
A temporary roadway to Pine Island opened today, and the next priority is urgent repairs for the Sanibel Causeway. The causeway suffered severe damage to several sections. The temporary roads will be strong enough to let utility teams in and debris trucks out. Going by road rather than by boat or helicopter will also accelerate the work of first responders and relief workers. FDOT hopes the Sanibel Causeway can be usable by the end of the month.
And back on the mainland, residents are still dealing with the harsh reality that Hurricane Ian left behind. I visited one retirement mobile home community in North Fort Myers that was hit especially hard. A woman I spoke with let me into what was now left of her unrecognizable home. No roof.
Mira, todo eso también le llevó.
No walls, shattered windows.
Ya esto no sirve.
Mirala Jimenez's bedroom.
Es que en esta locura.
A small reflection of the aftermath of Hurricane Ian.
Es bien triste porque ya aparte yo estoy enferma. Ahora volver no es fácil.
After Hurricane Irma destroyed her home in Miami, Mirela moved to North Fort Myers.
No pensaba que me iba a pasar otra vez.
But then Hurricane Ian struck her home in Windmill Village, a natural disaster tearing her life apart once again.
This is the second time, and they had a lot of trauma going through that, you know, and they really feel it.
Mirela is thankful to be alive.
Estamos vivos.
But she's nervous about how she will rebuild what was lost.
Todas las personas dicen, pero todo lo material se recupera, pero lo material no cae del cielo. Si no tienes el dinero, no lo puedes recuperar.
The woman from meager means is waiting for government help.
She needs that money to help her rebuild and you know, salvage what she can and start over.
Surrounded by damage and destruction, Mirela is moving forward with faith.
Yo digo que bueno, pues son pruebas que uno tiene que pasar en la vida. Yo tengo mucha fe y que Dios me va a volver a ayudar.
I mean, there's no easy way through it. You just gotta, you know, piece by piece, that's all.
And piece by piece, she believes she will get through this storm. Now, Mirela told me she is currently staying with her sister and mom who live in the same neighborhood. That home left almost untouched by Hurricane Ian. Mirela tells me she is thankful it was her home and not her 89-year-old mother's that was destroyed by the storm.
Thank you, Ophelia. I woke up and it was pretty chilly outside, so let's check in with WUFT's Shawn Humphrey, and he joins us now with the weather forecast.
Well, if you take a look outside, you don't need to open your window. Take a look right here. Hey there, Mr. Blue. It's waving back at you. The sky over the swamp. No clouds, no rain, just nice, cool by Florida standards weather. And you move ahead, you look at the hour-by-hour forecast, and as you head into the night, as I walk into the night off the screen, temperatures dropping as you get further and further into the nighttime. By 3 a.m., you're seeing 56-degree weather. And if you take a look at the future radar, take a look at where Sam I Am said he was bringing his green eggs and ham. That's where you will not find any rain. Nowhere. Now back to the desk.
Thank you for that update, Shawn. Prosecutors dropped charges against a Gainesville teen accused of making a bomb threat against Eastside High School. There were a rash of threats at local schools in fall of 2021, and that led to multiple arrests. Authorities say in this case they charged a student who was an online student and his laptop was linked to the threat, but they later found out that someone else may have used the laptop that day. You can read the whole story at WUFT.org. It's National Coffee with a Cop Day, and here locally, deputies from Alachua County Sheriff's Office connected with people while sharing a cup of decaf. WUFT's Kennedy Mason had a seat at the table to join, and she joins us now so she can tell us about her experience speaking with these cops. Kennedy?
Kendall, I'm here at the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. Earlier, I spoke to 7 people, a mix of deputies and community members at the Pearl County Station. They share with me that the main thing is to get to know law enforcement outside of the uniform. Connecting with people in local neighborhoods, breaking down the barriers between sheriffs and community.
I'm more than a badge. That, I'm a husband, I'm a father.
Lieutenant Richard Leland took part in the Alachua County Sheriff's Office Coffee with a Cop. The event happened at 3 locations, Hawthorne, Newberry, and Micanopy from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. At the Micanopy location at Pearl County Store, people ask questions and raise concerns.
It's nice to be able to come here this morning and just chat over coffee and breakfast and get to know the people that serve our area.
Deputies hope that these cup of joes will help them connect to the community personally and maybe even recruit a few new deputies. More than the question and answer conversations, Lieutenant Lalonde wants people to know him as a real human.
A lot of the concerns they have, I also have.
Some of the conversations are hard.
There's times that people just vent on us and we just listen.
And some are easy.
Or to thank me for my service, that's always great.
The mayor of Micanopy and ACSO want to implement changes.
Some town halls maybe in our future.
One citizen brought up concerns about traffic with the construction that's going on down here.
Through this, they're building relations and making changes one cup at a time. The ACSO spokesperson hopes some of these conversations lead to recruitment. This is the first Coffee with a Cop event since the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting live from the Alachua County Sheriff's Office, Kennedy Mason, WUFT News.
Thanks, Kennedy. Buckle up, it's your lucky month. Florida drivers will be saving money all throughout October. The gas tax holiday is in effect for the entire month. This means drivers will save 25 cents per gallon. The gas holiday is meant to offset increasing fuel prices and limit inflation. AAA says the average Florida gas price is now $3.17. This is the lowest average in the state since January. Some Florida residents aren't convinced, though, the state holiday will do much to help them save. Gainesville resident Joy Krause spends $50 on gas per week, but doesn't expect anything to change.
I don't think it's really made that much of a difference because, it's just a little bit of pocket change, and with the cost of gas anyway being so expensive, it's not really going to make that much of a difference.
Car owners will resume paying the gas tax on November 1st. And now taking to the skies, 4 astronauts are embarking on a mission to the International Space Station.
And we'll show you the Cape Canaveral blastoff. So if you missed it today, don't worry. We'll tell you more about the crew and their trip when we return. Stay tuned.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. SpaceX celebrates another successful launch at Kennedy Space Center. Earlier this afternoon, SpaceX sent 4 astronauts to the International Space Station. The crew includes Russian cosmonaut Anna Kakinka and Kyoichi Wakata from Japan. American astronauts Josh Casada and Nicole Mann are also on board. Nicole Mann is the first Native American to make it into space.
Former President Donald Trump turns to the Supreme Court to help him with his Mar-a-Lago documents battle. Trump filed an emergency request to allow the special master to first review all documents, including those marked classified. The Justice Department would have to wait on that process before using approved documents in its criminal investigation. The Justice Department has until next Tuesday to respond to the filing.
As the midterm elections get closer, a controversy emerges in the Georgia race for U.S. Senate. To give you some perspective here, only 10 of the 35 Senate races are considered competitive, with likely power going to the party that takes at least 6 of those races. NBC's Alice Barr reports from Washington.
5 weeks before the midterm elections, a critical campaign issue and a closely watched Senate race colliding in a very public controversy. Herschel Walker, the Republican Senate candidate from Georgia, who supports a no-exceptions abortion ban after 15 weeks, responding to allegations he paid for his then-girlfriend to have an abortion in 2009.
I never asked anyone to get an abortion. I never paid for an abortion, and it's a lie.
The report surfaced in the Daily Beast, which did not name the woman out of privacy concerns, but cited a get well card and a check she says Walker gave her, as well as a receipt from an abortion clinic as evidence. NBC News has not independently verified any of the documents. And now Walker's 23-year-old son is accusing him of being a bad father and a hypocrite.
You don't get to pretend you're some moral family guy.
Herschel Walker tweeting, "I love my son no matter what," as he and top Republican allies dismiss the allegations as a last-minute distraction by Democrats. Republicans pointing instead to the economy and growing fears of a looming recession.
Real people, they're talking about the fact that it costs more money to go to the gas station and that's how they get to work. It costs more money at the grocery store and that's how they feed their family.
News today that gas prices, which have been dropping for months, could spike again after a group of some of the world's most powerful oil producers agreed to sharply cut production to boost sagging prices. President Biden calling the move short-sighted and urging U.S. energy companies to bring pump prices down, a hot-button issue at a critical moment for his party. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, the forecast this week is much quieter than this time last week. Thank goodness, Kendall.
I know, I'm so grateful, but the tropics aren't completely quiet, so we're going to join Shawn after the break. Well, actually right now for a little bit of a tease, so he's going to tell us more.
Yeah, the tropics are slowing down, but it's not quite finished yet. Even though it's all good in Florida, the tropics are busy. We'll see you after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
How's it going, guys? I'm Shawn Humphrey. We are here at the University of Florida, and just outside these doors at the Innovation News Center, you're seeing nothing but blue skies in and around Gainesville. It feels like 81 degrees outside, meaning the humidity is not much of a problem for us. But later tonight, it's going to be feeling cool, real cool, extra cool. And we'll take a look at the temperatures around the state. The highest temperature I see on my map right here is Cedar Key at 67 degrees, St. Augustine at 61, but you're dipping all the way down to 52 degrees in Live Oak, Gainesville, of course, at 54. Nice, smooth, cool temperatures. If you're from Florida, you might hop out there in a windbreaker, some kind of jacket, but if you're not from Florida, you might hop out there in a t-shirt, shorts. It's all good for you, and it's all good for me too. And overnight temperatures dipping, getting lower and lower, but not into the water, because guess what? It's going to be dry overnight and it's turning chilly. Fall weather is feeling like fall, but it feels all good to me. Hey, that's just my opinion. You can think whatever you want to think. I'm not going to hate. But guess what? We got to look at the future radar too. You see those numbers going up, up, up. That's times moving forward, and you see barely any change. The only water you're going to find is maybe in your pool, maybe in a river, maybe in a lake, but it won't be falling down from the sky, barring some unforeseen, crazy, coincidental monsoon that comes out of nowhere. But hey, I'm the weatherman, and I don't expect it. But guess what? Let's move forward. We're going to look at the highs for Thursday. Mid-80s, low 80s. I don't quite see the 70s. I would like to see in the 70s, but that's okay with me. I'm not going to complain. I like what I'm seeing right now. And we're going to take a look at the tropics. Tropical storm, tropical cyclone frequency normally is reaching the other end of the bell curve at this point in the year. October, we just left September, thankfully, the most active part of the hurricane season. And right now in October, things are slowing down, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. 2 areas of development in the Atlantic right now, 1 tropical depression and 1 system that could see development over the next few days. And we'll take a look at the 6-day forecast. 85 and 86 degrees, the highs we see, and we're dipping down into the 50s and 60s. All good.
Thanks, Shawn. Well, last night was a night sports fan won't soon forget.
That is so true. A long-standing American League record was broken by a Yankee slugger. You'll find out more about this accomplishment when we come back for Sports with Will Levenson.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to Sports. I'm Will Levenson. Folks, he's done it. History made, case closed. Yankees slugger Aaron Judge has broken Roger Maris's American League record for most home runs in a single season after smashing his 62nd last night in Arlington, Texas. Maris's son Kevin, a Gainesville native and Oak Hall baseball head coach, said Judge reminds him of his father.
You know, all of what I've seen and heard, and, you know, he represents himself very well on and off the field as a ball player. You know, he's very humble, very team-oriented, a lot like the way Dad used to be. And, you know, he just, on and off the field, he's a quality guy, it looks like.
Now for Judge and the Yanks, it's all about bringing home the franchise's 28th World Series title. The playoffs begin this Friday. It's homecoming week here in Gainesville as Gators football is coming off a 52-17 blowout victory over Eastern Washington. Florida now looks ahead to a much tougher test against their SEC East foe, Missouri Tigers. Mizzou looked impressive in a loss last week, taking the top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs to the brink. Missouri led 16-3 at one point and held the lead almost the entire way until Georgia scored with just over 4 minutes left. The Bulldogs escaped the Tigers 26-22. Here are some facts about those stingy Missouri Tigers. Missouri is 2-3 this season, but since joining the SEC in 2012, Mizzou is 5-5 against Florida. The Gators will be out for revenge after last year's date with the Tigers was a night to forget. Missouri topped Florida 24-23 in overtime. This time around, watch out for the motor of Mizzou's defense, Florida transfer Tyron Hopper. Hopper leads Missouri in tackles, tackles for loss, and sacks this season. Kickoff for Saturday's homecoming showdown is set for noon from the Swamp. To the high school gridiron, where the Hawthorne Hornets remained undefeated last night. Hawthorne, seen here dressed in orange, took down the Gibbs Gladiators of St. Petersburg 21-12 to improve to 5-0 on the year. On a rare Tuesday night football game that was moved from Friday thanks to Hurricane Ian, Hawthorne trailed 12-7 in the third quarter. They didn't look back from there, scoring the game's final 14 points. But check out this impressive one-handed grab from Gibbs wide receiver Devin Walton, going up and getting it. My goodness. Next up for the undefeated Hornets, they'll get a bit of a rest before traveling to Union County next Friday. Gators Volleyball was back in action tonight after losing their first match since September 4th. After a week off, Florida takes on the Tennessee Volunteers tonight in Knoxville as they wrap up a 3-game road stand. The 15th-ranked Gators are 52-12 all-time against the Vols, winning 9 of their last 10 meetings with Tennessee. They'll look to get back to their winning ways after having a 7-match winning streak snapped by South Carolina. First serve is scheduled for 7 p.m.
Thanks, Will. Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Thanks, guys. We'll take a look at the low temperatures across the state. If you see behind my shoulder, I know you can't see behind my shoulder, but if I turn this way, you might be able to see 67 and 56 degrees in Cedar Key and Cross City, 52 in Live Oak, the low lows. But 6-day outlook is showing more of those lows as we go on to handling business throughout the work week and the weekend. Thank you very much. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Shawn. BBC World News is next, and the PBS News Hour is coming up at 7.
But as you know, you can always find your Florida local news at WUFT.org. Have a good night.